Alright, we're starting out on the Colorado Trail, Clear Creek Reservoir, which you can just barely see down there, just off Highway 24. It comes down right there from the other side. So there's actually an extra person with us tonight. I'm back with a friend Mike that Samuel and I met back in 2017 in the Lost Creek Wilderness, and we did a quick backpack Black Mountain Crest Trail in North Carolina, since that's where he's from, a few years back. And he's got a friend Adam that lives out here near Denver. He said, hey, I'd like to go camping, and so he became our ride from Union Station out to the trailhead. So it worked out great. Adam's only going to camp with us tonight, though. What? Trample by the moose?
Am I going to be YouTube famous?
I'm not going to, of course. Woohoo! But we're weenies, so we stopped at what, 6.4 miles instead of 8 point something? Leaving camp about 7:15. Nice morning. Apparently got fairly chilly. Had frost on the tents. Fair bit of condensation too, but that makes sense if it got that cold, because it was about 40 degrees inside my tent. I think our objective today is somewhere around Harvard Lakes, but we'll see. Seems to be another beautiful day, though. The weather's supposed to be pretty nice this week. I think we're going over that saddle right there in the center of the frame. But I left Mike back in the campsite. He slept in late. He hadn't even eaten yet. But I've been going really slow on the uphills. My hamstrings had about had it yesterday to the point of exhaustion, so I was taking a lot of breaks going. It was a very steep uphill to get to the campsite. So I wanted to leave early just to make sure he wouldn't have to wait for me. Looks like I made the saddle. Quite a slog. It's almost 1,400 feet. Not sure how many miles. Took me just over an hour, like 62 minutes or so. Unfortunately, too many trees here. can't get a good view, unfortunately. This might be the best view I get. I got out of camp 7:41. Mike is going to be just a little bit behind me. It's a nice camp, though it wasn't quite accurate per the CT guide. They said it was 300 feet after Maxwell Creek, but they took the I guess intermittent tributary, I guess, of Maxwell Creek as shown on the map, because it was actually between that and the real Maxwell Creek as shown on the topo. It's a nice campsite though, plenty big, lots of nice spots. Good access to water if you went to the real Maxwell Creek. Much closer than going back to the tributary. Also had blessed to have a visit from a hummingbird 2 times last night, or yesterday afternoon. So today we're heading to the Princeton Hot Springs to get a bite to eat, and then probably only go a mile up the next segment, since we have no real need to press on. We're easily within our daily range for the number of days we have left. And thankfully this terrain is going to be a bit gentler than the last couple days. So it turns out you have to do the boring road walk to get the good views. We just had a fabulous lunch at Mount Princeton Hot Springs Resort and are finishing the 2+ mile walk up to the Chalk Creek trailhead. I'm staying in the night in the Bootleg campground, just 1/10 of a mile up from Chalk Creek. It's abandoned now, no longer in use, but you can come here and still camp. You see, maybe not in this video since it's not really high resolution, but there are 2 tents that you could see and a 3rd tent that's a little beyond that way, but they have these platforms which you can see there, and mine right here, but there isn't a single platform that's anywhere near level. So I found the primo spot. This is like the only pine tree that has a really wide base of needles under it, and it's far more level than most of these platforms. So lucked out here. And this is going to be by far my best view, probably, of the entire trip. So that's like a bonus. Unfortunately, Mike decided to bail a few hours ago. He had been having some kind of respiratory issue creep up that was affecting his ability to breathe and be able to get up the hills and stuff, so he thought it best to head out. So I will be on the rest of the trip, I think about 21 miles, 22 miles left on my own, which is not a big deal since I do this all the time. But it's time to bed down for the night, and the mosquitoes are eating me up while I'm recording this. So I left camp at about 7:20 this morning, and we had a almost 900-foot elevation gain in 1.3 miles. I made that in 40 minutes. So, feeling the best I have, so that burger at the resort yesterday probably helped. So, now heading off to Squaw Creek. This section has been quite easy. We're just contouring along the base of the mountains. I took a 20-minute break here at Browns Creek. There are two tributaries of Little Browns Creek, or Browns Creek, one or the other, that are also running just before that. It took me exactly 3 hours to get there, so that should have been 6.7 miles, I think. And have a little under 6 to Squaw Creek. I believe that's Mount Shavano, which I might try to get to the summit of. May not be a bright idea, but so far I'm feeling okay. You kind of go up through that bridge, through the trees, and then break off to the left, and eventually gain the saddle there, and then up to the right to the summit. So, I don't know. We'll see, but I'll definitely bail if I don't think I can make it. So just above 10,800, there's this little stream. It is almost certainly seasonal, I would guess. And I have no idea if this has been a particularly wet or dry year. But as of July 31st, it's still flowing more than good enough to get plenty of water. That would have saved me a lot of weight, at least up to this point, of carrying. Interesting. I wonder what all the CFI is doing here. Well, it may be hard to see with the sun there, but the path to the saddle is now fully in view. Well, it took me 5 hours to do the 4.5 miles, but I've made the saddle. There is the summit. Well, I am deciding not to do this last bit. I'm assuming that you just have to do a bunch of scrambling. And I made it up to this little knoll, whatever. An obvious meeting point. But from here, it wasn't clear on if there was a preferred route or not. I don't see any cairns or anything like that, and not really an obvious worn path. So I'm gonna call it. It's a kind of a hazy morning out there. See the trail coming up the saddle down there. Well, I made it out at 2:30. Not really much to say. Now we'll just have to see how long it takes me to get a hitch.